Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
That pesky little mute button. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the panel discussion on day 4, track 14. And we have with us Ravi and Martin. Oh. And I'm not sure where that came from. I hope you didn't hear all that. And Dr. Lee. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for joining us in this amazing panel discussion. We have been blown away by some beautiful light language and a gorgeous, very, very enlightening speak about the noble ego. And we're going to dive a little deeper into understanding the traditional spiritual wisdom. And Dr. Lee, may I hand over to you to get the ball rolling?
Right, I will. Thank you. So, first in a discussion to both of you, like, for example, the light language actually supposedly precedes the codification of languages, earth languages, that is, right? And since Ravi, you speak 6 languages, and may I know what that is, or those are?
Sure.
What are they?
English is my native tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Living in France for over 20 years, so French. And then I've also learned Portuguese, Spanish, German, and Italian. I've lived in the countries, basically.
Right.
So,
wow. Beautiful. So I would love to invite you as we go into this traditional wisdom, and in this discussion of this is to link it up also with Martin, speaking about the light languages and how you feel when you are speaking that. And so, and please link that up to what you know of traditional ancient wisdom. So over to either one of you first.
Would you like to start, Ravi, or what?
It's all wonderful. I had the chuckle from from speaking several languages and even having my own book that I wrote in English. My second book that I wrote called Protonic Speaking, like the proton, the positive part of the atom, where I advocate really being aware of every single word that we use, because it is a vibration, and thus it's going to align with other vibrations and can actually create more than we think it is. And so that's why it's called Protonic Speaking, because as I said, that I kind of feel as though we were all born into somehow a slave system, and that we get to enfranchise ourselves. That's part of our path, so to speak, the way I see it. And as Martin alluded to, following our joy, our bliss, these types of things, dancing. I noted a couple of really beautiful things that Martin had said. One of them was, what was it? Allow our beingness to dance. I love that, because when I think of beingness, I think of every like little cell in our body that can be dancing all the time, because I love celebration. And that's one of my things. I'm just surprised that we're not all out dancing all day long every day. That's just kind of me being silly, but I do say I'm a court jester because I have to be silly, because I know not everyone understands my messages, and it's all good. But this idea then that every word that we utter, that we speak, that we give forth is part of a vibration. And then the word becomes the verb when we act upon it, or we repeat it, or we give more energy to it, and we are enhancing it thus. And this is the beauty of it. And this is where I think that we really all could pay much more attention to the words that we're speaking. And so the fun part is I heard the, now what's interesting, it almost sounded like an Asian language to me that Martin was speaking. But it sounded like maybe I could imagine like where it's apparently that the Asians had crossed the Bering Strait and had become the Native American Indians somehow. And I could kind of see that bridge of the Bering Strait at that point. And it kind of sounded like some sort of, maybe Apache or some sort of Native American Indian language, but somehow also mixed with, Japanese, or it was really fun language. But I had to chuckle because the linguist in me knows that, as I was saying, I can't translate my own book because there's some cultural stuff that just doesn't translate. And so I loved when Martin was speaking in this beautiful light language, and then I heard the word limitless. So in other words, the light language doesn't know limit. We had to add that cultural construct to it, which is somehow part of why we're here. And the ego is actually part of that bridge for me, because when we get to our noble side, we realize that, hey, it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the dance. It's all part of the joy and the bliss. And that's, I had a great chuckle with that. So I wanted to thank you for that, Martin. and I love it as a cosmic joke somehow that our own language is what's limiting us somehow, in a sense.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Right. Thank you, Ravi, for your take on light languages as a linguist. And then over to you, Martin, on how you are understanding the ancient traditional wisdom, spiritual wisdom, by bringing forth the light languages.
Yes. So the way, like in the beginning, there was the word, and like exactly what Ravi was talking about there is like sound is vibration, and like it's energy, and that's what the whole of creation is vibrating on. And sound is, like in this dimension, is so underutilized, and it's so, it's something that we are like barely scratching the surface of. And exactly, that's been very much my path, is the way Ravi was talking about, being so conscious of our language, so conscious of the words that we use, because they hold vibration and they are what are creative. And to link this to the ancient wisdom and the traditional wisdom is that, mantra in the yogic sciences, and before, if we go back before even the languages that that are apparent here now, there was a time where we communicated as advanced beings beyond language and beyond sound, in telepathic ways, and we are moving back more towards that as well. But bringing forward like mantra, bringing forward like real consciousness in our language, and finding the commonality, finding something that is a universal language, which again doesn't diminish in any way the unique capacities of all of our beautiful creativity and all the ways in which we express in the different languages. And I feel the ancient wisdom, because of course we are not, we like official history is like that we are the most advanced that humanity has ever been, and anyone with a pulse knows now. Manipulation and that kind of storyline, it just doesn't hold any weight. But blessings with the internet and all of the evolution of consciousness that we've had, is that we're bringing back a lot of those ancient modalities and traditional wisdom of mantra, of finding commonality in language, and finding what unites us, and unity and diversity, having all of these beautiful languages, and then there is something within that unites us all. So I feel, many of those ancient and traditional wisdoms will be becoming more apparent, and just the words ancient and traditional, it seems like it's old, or seems like it's something that we move back to, but it's actually, we're going back to the future. We're going, really evolving these. And
Martin,
again,
when you say, sorry if I may, when you say that, it's beautiful, because it you just gave me like this really beautiful image of almost every vibration has a pulse. That's fabulous. When you said that, I really got this idea that every word almost has a pulse, and that we can put our finger on the vibrational pulse, so to speak, when we speak it out to what we really are in alignment with. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. And that aligns so much with, like, we're one heartbeat, we're one pulsation, and the words that we give and the vibration that is behind those words are what expands creation, expands this earthly experience. So it's beautiful. One pulse.
And I like to sort of bring this in, as what you both have said, into the understanding of the traditional spiritual wisdom, is that speaking in languages other than codified by human civilizations is common. This phenomena has happened through time, from the Taoist practice, the Buddhist practice, and people have channeled through different languages. And of course, these are called light languages now, but they're also called star languages. They're called speaking in tongues in the churches. They're called angel tones. And they were the languages in the Tower of Babel. And so we were already articulating these languages, and certainly as babies as well. So we have a different language, and this is fascinating because this is an expression of the soul. And so, you know, this is such a fascinating topic because, I mean, personally, mine came through, as I discussed with Martin in 1990, through a Buddhist altar. And the phenomena then took me and us, Martin, I know, and also Nikki here, to a feeling of an ancient traditional wisdom. So thank you so much, both of you, for weaving this two together to understand more the traditional spiritual wisdom. Thank you. Michelle, do you have a question?
I do. My question is more towards who has been your greatest teacher in understanding this feeling language and this deep traditional part of our beings. I'll ask that first to Ravi, if I could.
Okay. It's obviously along my path, and that's part of the beauty of it, is that I'm completely 100% at ease and in grace and thankful for my path. So because of the parents that I chose, I did not grow up rich. Actually, at some point I got yelled at by my mother inside of a store in San Diego when I asked for something, like all kids do. And she was very vexed and got mad and said, you know, we can't buy that with food stamps, because, you know, we didn't have money, right? So we had this kind of like the equivalent of the dole or whatever. But so that really shocked me. That really was like, wow, that was a huge thing, because afterwards, of course, I understood that my mother, she was going through her own stuff, and that was embarrassing for her. But that was like a really huge kind of, you know, slap in the face energetically, so to speak. So that happened, and a couple other things. I wanted to be like my father and be on the wrestling team, but we didn't have enough money to buy the uniform, and we lived too far away, so I couldn't get an after school. They didn't have an after school activities bus to ship me back home, so to speak. So I couldn't participate in that. And that was like another thing that was like, oh, this money, being so trapped by money, that at 16, before I knew about declaring to the universe and all of this stuff, I said, I'm gonna become a millionaire, because I thought that was a simple solution to be or do whatever I wanted to do. So that's what I did. And fortunately, and this is the fun part of the blessing, my mother was a high school dropout. So I didn't have someone saying you have to go to school and get a good job and all the other kind of crap that I say society has just fallen into. So it is what it is. So being just a very simple, direct man, I just straight to the beeline. So let me go study money and how people made money. So what happened was I became a millionaire. And what's beautiful, now this is the beautiful part, and this is the part that most people will not be able to understand. There was someone along my path that said, we become a millionaire, not for the money, but for who we have to be able to become the millionaire. And that was a beautiful thing. So one of my greatest mentors is all along the financial lines. I mean, if I look up at my bookshelf right now, I mean, I see Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, all of these, Jack Canfield is he's a good enough pal or whatever. If you tell him that you know Ravi from Paris, he said, we've had a great time in Paris together. Yeah, Mark Victor Hansen. I've actually got to meet Sir Richard Branson and all these greats in the financial world. And believe it or not, they're living somehow very spiritually, because it is all so related, because they're on their path. It's just that instead of us, like Martin and I, maybe following our bliss and our joy and dancing, they're following the results of, okay, I need to create this, that, and the other. But that is part of their path. And thanks to those men, because they were all men in my case, being kind of my guides, so to speak, my whatever, my guides, I like to call it guides. That's what drew me along that path that made me actually be able to be off for over a dozen years now, that gave me the time to be able to just go out and explore exactly how I wanted. So it's thanks to having the money set done that I got the freedom that I could just to go, this is a big, huge playground for me. I mean, I am so blessed just to go live anywhere I want to live. I mean, I literally well, it's almost, November makes 2 years. I went to Amsterdam for 1 week. On the 7th day when I was supposed to fly home, I was like, oh, I don't want to do my suitcase. And I was thinking, I don't want to go to this airport. I didn't want to take the bus or the train or something for 2 hours to the airport. So I said, if I don't do my suitcase, hey, I don't have to go to the airport. And I just stayed. And I ended up spending 7 months in Amsterdam. And that is beautiful. When we have the money set taken care of, that we could just, the whole world is a playground, ladies and gentlemen. I'm blessed to live in the south of France because I chose to. And I really do believe that we could take anyone and go set them in the place where they think they would be able to thrive. Because most people, you know, a lot of people are complaining about where they are. Well, I would like to take them and just go stick them where they think they would be able to thrive and let them thrive. And maybe they might even go home and realize, you know what? I was just complaining about a bunch of stupid stuff instead of really getting on with who I came to be. And so I think this is another thing that the financial aspect allows us to be able to be freer to come into who it is that we really came to be. You know, it's all excuses somehow. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, Ravi. It really does. I love the money set. We all know about the mindset. We work hard on those, don't we? But the money set is crucial. And is it not traditional and spiritual that we are abundant?
Of course.
Yes. It's our birthright, is it not? So it's very important. And you answered that.
It really is. And Michelle, if I could just touch on that one thing, because of course I have to have my pet peeves, so to speak, because that's how I operate, of course. I have so many spiritual friends that always talk about abundance. Let me give you one analogy, please, just to click that in a different way so that it might fit more harmoniously so we can actually get on with things together. Here's the way I see abundance. That is air. Air is in abundance. I would love for all the spiritual people to quit thinking about abundance and start thinking of plenty. And here's what plenty is. Water. I want water. I go turn on the faucet. I go open a bottle. I go jump in the water. Water covers 70% of the planet. It's in abundance, okay, but it's not abundant. There are places on the planet where there is no water, but there's still air. Air is always abundant. Water, on the other hand, we have to use this beautiful physical vessel to action something to have water. Always, even if we just have to walk to the waterfall. So if we would start thinking along the lines of plenty, and think of the lines of plenty, I want plenty, I want water. But abundance is air, and we're drowning in the air, right? We don't understand abundance anymore. So if we would just retract back one step and think of water, of course, appreciate the air, of course. But too many people, I see them getting all flabbergasted. Oh, abundance, abundance, abundance. Shoot, I have to pay the mortgage or the rent tomorrow. You know what I mean? So if they would just come back to this idea maybe of plenty and trying to access it, to access it, they have to action something, normally themselves. A little bit of mindset, a little bit of heart set, a little bit of love set, a little bit of contribution, right? As we all know, and it's all in the spiritual tradition. But that would be a little bit more fun if we would start thinking in lines of plenty.
I couldn't agree more. I love it. What a fabulous, fabulous analogy. Thank you. Thank you, Ravi. I love your pizzazz, your energy, your vibrancy. It's just so contagious, man. So contagious. It's just wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. We're so blessed to be here.
Yeah, we are. We are.
I was interviewed in something for a book I wrote, and And it was really, really fun. Kind of like the little click where I had with Martin, where I said, wow, it's almost like every verb or every word has a vibrational pulse, and we could touch the pulse of the vibration. When I was talking to this other woman that was interviewing me, when I was talking about how amazing it is to be on this planet, how grateful we really could all be if we choose to, the harmonious conversation led us to the conclusion that there was like a line of souls out there just waiting to jump into a body. And we have one. So come on, folks. Let's get on with it. You know what I mean? We got one. We won the lotto. Come on.
Yeah, we certainly won the lottery, didn't we? It was perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And Martin, if I could just ask that question of you, who is pivotal in bringing forth your understanding of the traditional wisdom?
So I want to just share something very quickly because I love synchronicities, and I just want to share something you said and something that Ravi said. I put a post on Facebook, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before. I said, congratulations, you've won the cosmic lottery. You get another day to play on Playground Earth. And both of you said, you talked about lottery and you talked about Playground Earth, and it's exactly that. And I just love, and I love that, and I feel this just ties in with frequency, vibration, words, and language. So I just wanted to share that. Another one synchronistic, because numbers as well is another language that is very much aligned with me. And it was when the second that Ravi, you finished your talk, this video was at 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. 5 ones. So you'll be able to check this on the replay, but numbers just speak so loudly to me. So it was like 5 ones. People see like double digits and quadruple digits, but this was literally 5. So for me, that's fifth dimensional confirmation. So
it could be that numbers actually preceded all language.
Yes.
It could be.
Absolutely. So it was amazing. It was just literally on the time you stopped. I looked at the clock, and there it was.
Thank you for bringing that in, Martin. That frequency.
So as far as like the feeling language, it's going to be slightly different for me. Like I have so many mentors and so many teachers, and read so many books and studied so many different modalities. But I would say, funnily enough, and I've never thought of it until you've asked this question, is like to the feeling language has been the one thing that I haven't had a mentor or a teacher, because for me it's been about completely letting go, about completely surrendering. I suppose I've had mentors and teachers on that sort of concept, but specifically around this kind of feeling language, like you mentioned, it's been about completely letting go, because as I shared earlier, I resisted, allowing, firstly as a channel, vocal channel, for years, I resisted it. And then light language was kind of a next stage for me. I really, really resisted it. So it was really about letting go of any concept, letting go of self-judgment, letting go of expectations of what the world would judge. So it was really about letting go, I suppose, on that surrender, not specifically for this language, but I love, oh my God, I forget his name now, but a book called The Surrender Experiment. I can't remember his name now, but he would be one that was very much apparent in that. But I really feel that Michael Singer was his name, thank you. And yes, this really was about a surrender, because I had very much, I grew up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, and I had a very closed consciousness until actually, Michelle, I moved to Australia in 2008. My consciousness was very closed and very limited. I lived most of my life in Northern Ireland through all the stuff that was going on there in the 80s and 90s, and my consciousness was very closed. And it wasn't until then that I kind of expanded. But still in all, I have a very healthy skepticism. I know it wouldn't look like it when you see what I've just done, but so many of these things I need to prove experientially to myself and really feel it. So this one thing around channeling and light language and feeling energy, I feel it's been a mentorless It's been about completely letting go and not having concept and not having idea and not having judgment. So I feel it's kind of different, and I've never actually thought about it until you asked that question. So for everything else, I have lists and lists, and both physical and non-physical. And I love that you had Maha Avatar Babaji in the musical interlude, which has absolutely been one of my mentors and guides and inspirations. Akatia korayin tankantai shusoto kontai makantai te kintai ta andai ikantante o akarite. So there have been many on other sides, but I feel specifically on this question, it's just been a complete letting go and surrender. So, yeah.
So what would your advice be then, Martin, to those that have, as you did, difficulty allowing and surrendering, to allow their own inner wisdom in the traditional sense, which is our very being?
Yeah, I think it goes back to
step forward.
I think it goes back to what we shared and Ravi talked about as well, is like following your unique excitement, your unique joy, your passion, your bliss, what really fires you up. That doesn't have to be like what works for anyone else. There's a unique signature and a frequency within everyone. There's an excitement, there's an aliveness, there's a fire, and that may take you on something that you just have no idea why or how, and it's that language, let's say that language of passion, of inspiration, of excitement, is your unique way that it will take you. So that's your key. But it's important. It's about surrendering. Is like you have to let go of what it looked like, what people's going to think, what you think about yourself, how it's going to be received. That frequency will take you to places that may make you uncomfortable, that may make you, most likely, if you're following it truly, it will take you to places where you feel like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I feel afraid. I feel like this won't work, or I don't know why. So it's that is a unique gift that we've given ourselves, and it's the language that we speak to ourselves through that excitement, joy, passion, and it's just about getting out of our own way. And I don't really like the word trust, but just follow what really drives you, because that is your key.
Thank you, Martin.
Add something, if I could, to that.
Please do.
The idea that Martin resisted for so long is something that I see quite often. Is that sometimes we're going along and we don't think we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we all know that the universe is, right? So everything is somehow just. So it actually is that way on purpose, so to speak, somehow, the way I see it. And what I also mean by that is, for quite a number of years, when I would get the little bit of time off, I'd go very slowly, but I literally climbed the Great Pyramid of Egypt, and I've been on top of the pyramids in Maya. I've been to Machu Picchu. I've been to pyramids all over the planet, actually. And I just would have to make excuses to people that I love archaeology. I just love going and climbing on stuff. But I also loved what I realized later. I love sitting on the energetic hotspots of the earth. And I didn't know that until I'd already retired and started getting into my real spiritual side, where I had the time to enjoy it. And I started thinking about all this stuff in the past. And if we look at our past, and I know that a lot of people are kind of, as they said, stuck in the past, we could free ourselves from that at any time and accept and realize that it was for a reason somehow. And if we thank it and bless it and realize it. So when I realized all these time I'm sitting on top of all these pyramids all over the planet, I realized, you know what? I was imbibing myself with this amazing, these are ley lines, these are dragon lines, these are the lines of the telluric earth, right? I mean, these are the beauty spots. This is amazing. It was a privilege, and I didn't realize at the time. And I had to make excuses to my friends. No, I just love archaeology. I love old stuff, and I would go sit up there but now I realize, no, that was part of the path. That was part of me somehow even subconsciously following. So Martin might have been subconsciously resisting, so that when he came to that real point, he busted through, and now he is who he is. You know what I mean? It's that sometimes going from a caterpillar to to the butterfly, there might be a snag. And so we have to jerk a little harder or something like that, you know? So, and that's okay. It's really okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ravi, you just explained perfectly the actual question, understanding the traditional spiritual wisdom. You understood the traditional wisdom unknowingly at the time by following your passion and going where you were led.
Yes, exactly. Extraordinary. Yes.
So, Dr. Lee, did you have anything else that you'd like to add or ask?
Well, that was a very pertinent point of ley lines and magical spots, the vortices in the earth, and how that links to light languages. And yes, Martin, I don't know if you have that experience, and please do bring forth your experiences where you perhaps come to a sacred location or a place. Like my experience is when that needs some clearing, that needs some aligning, or some people, and the light languages just come through. As you know, you can't control them and you can't call them on. There's the Holy Spirit moving through. That's how it's called. And so that realized that that's actually part of the dreaming and the ley lines, the serpent lines, the dragon lines. And that's why when people go to different spots, there comes this outburst of singing and dancing, you know, and celebration, because that spiral of energy just keeps coming up. So I would love to hear more of your experience with this in grounding the traditional spiritual wisdom. This is all part of our ancient wisdom. So Martin, Ravi, please.
Yeah, it's 222, 44 seconds just to speak the language of
That's my number 2.
Like numbers.
Martin, we'll have a chat after this.
Absolutely. Honestly, it speaks so loud to me. I cannot ignore it. Just like, oh, look.
Yeah. And you see what catches your attention, right? That's all bringing the ancient wisdom. You can't help it. You see what you see and you know what you know, right? So wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please carry on with that. Yes.
Talking about the sacred sites and about like what Ravi was saying about like, you know, you're following a path even though you don't know it. Like I had a very, let's say, crazy 20-year journey in my youth with a lot of addictions, a lot of crazy stuff in this human journey, but perfect and all it was. And I know that all of that was so that I could really understand the human condition, so I could really relate with people, whether they're in the down and out or they're expanded. Like there's no separation for me, and because I've been there and I've experienced many different things with many different beings. But what music is another language that is so beautiful and powerful and poignant for me. And so I was a DJ for some time, and that took me to, and this is probably, I don't know, probably 21 years ago, it took me to Egypt, to Cairo. And at this time, spirituality was like, I didn't even know anything about it. And I actually actively was against it. Grew up as a Catholic in the Troubles in Northern Ireland, again, like what I shared about. So religion, spirituality, anything like that was absolutely out of it was an active resistance. But it took me to the pyramids, and it took me to Giza, and it took me there. And again, without knowing it, I know now that was part of what you were saying. I was retracing these ancient sites. I was being there, imbued with the energy, even though I had no idea, and even though I didn't have any awareness of what I was doing, I was guided to these places. So whenever I've only realized that recently, but since then I have been guided to so many different sacred sites. Pretty much everywhere that we go, I'm guided, and I'm guided to do things with crystals. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing or why I'm doing most of these things. I just follow. Again, it's about that surrender, and it's going to different places, and I'm just guided there. And another interesting thing that I am being guided on, also guidance that has come through recently, is that the sacred sites on the, let's say, the old earth, it's not a judgment, it's just the more limited version, the sacred sites are static, they are very powerful, but they're static. And what is emerging now is that each of us are dynamic sacred sites. And while we can enhance and intensify our experiences by being on those static sacred sites as we merge, we are now the dynamic sacred sites that move across the planet. And when we come together in union like this is dynamic sacred sites coming together and raising the frequency to new levels, and ways in which we can be creative. And it's not limited by time and space. It's not limited by location. So it's important to see that each of you are a dynamic sacred site. Your divine vessel, your divine vehicle, and your light body is a divine sacred site, and you're invited to treat it as such. And also on a personal level, I have been guided to, through this lifetime, since my kind of realization, recognition, is to visit places specifically where I would have had maybe less than enlightening experiences. I'm revisiting, retracing my steps I have still got a long way to go, and I know Egypt is one of them, where I had experiences, perfect and all as they were, but there's soul fragments, there's parts of me that have been left there because of the addictions, because of the experiences, because of all of that. So there's many places across the planet that I am called to revisit, to close a circle, so to speak. So like language is a huge part of that. That's quite recent for me. So yeah, that's where it's coming back full circle. And I love seeing ourselves as these dynamic sacred sites that can go anywhere and make anywhere divine, because everywhere is divine, because we are all divine and we are all sacred. And now we have this, like Ravi's amazing, playful, childlike nature, I think is what I feel for, like, and that we can bring our sacred sites anywhere. We can be those sacred sites anywhere, anytime, any place, no matter the circumstance. So yeah, it's fun, and it's a blessing, gift to be alive here.
Yes, beautiful.
Great to see a soul brother. High five, brother.
I'm glad to see soul brothers here. High five.
Yes.
Great. And Michelle with
it's fabulous.
The crop circle behind her.
I know, right?
You chose a good one today.
Yes, I certainly did. I did. Well, my brothers and sisters, I feel that this session is complete. I would love to take this opportunity to offer you the I guess the last chance to say anything extra that you'd like to add to the wisdom of the panel, in particular regarding the understanding of the traditional spiritual wisdom. If you feel forever, speak now or forever hold your peace, shall we say?
Yeah, I'd just like to share that all wisdom is complete and whole, available to all beings at all times. There is not a process or a path that you need to go through now. There is process and path that we've been through and we enjoy, but nothing is inherently needed. Everything is alive within you. You are your own record of wisdom, and everything is available at all times. You don't need to go somewhere or do something or get it from somewhere else, because it is alive within you. And we are called to take that opportunity now, each of us, and know and learn and from the traditional wisdom paths that have guided us, and begin to make that our own now, and begin to move into this new earth with the combination of masculine and feminine as one within each being. It's not gender based, and bring the ancient wisdom that worked and bring it into your new unique expression, and become the living wisdom, become the living library, become the living expression of the divine that you are. And again, it's not something that you have to go somewhere or do something. It's not an achievement. It is alive within you. And if you are allowing yourself to be this vessel, all answers are within every question that you could ever hold, and it's within you.
Martin, thank you so very much, and please accept on our behalf from the World Parliament of Spirituality this wonderful certificate of speaker.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for being an esteemed speaker in the Third World Parliament of Spirituality 2020 in Europe. It has been
Thank you
such an honour to witness your presentation and your very being. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Gratitude.
Thank you.
And also, Ravi, please accept this certificate as a token of our appreciation and your sharing of your gorgeous, noble ego and that beautiful, vibrant soul that you are. So much gratitude and so much love.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you.
We say, de rien, je vous en prie.
Extraordinaire. Merci. 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 Let's play
Thank you
again
so very
together
much.
sometime. Let's play in person someplace somehow.
Oh,
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's all align.
Absolutely.
And also, may I invite you to stay for the next session, because Aga's title is Light Body and Light Languages.
Yes.
So yeah, she's on with us right now, and we are aligning already. So,
Yes, we are aligning. So thank you. And yes, please do stay on for the next track. We have Aga and Cosmin Constantine and Zoe Davenport speaking as well, and that will be extraordinary. We will take a very short break, and once again, thank you, Martin, and thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Yes. Pleasure.
You're probably
Thank you.
organized.
Your service.
Thank you so much.
May the ripple that we are creating in the World Parliament of Spirituality continue into the hearts, souls, and minds of all those in need. Thank you all, brothers and sisters. We'll be back after a very short break. Namaste.